if you want to record and distribute podcasts out, then the easiest way to start is by using Anchor. If you want to start with Anchor, all you have to do is go to the App Store or go online, search Anchor and start. Anchor, you can do it from your phone, you can use your computer, any way you want to record and edit, you can do it with that. It's so simple, it's so easy, and you can already start getting monetized. I'm getting monetized through Anchor. As soon as I started, I didn't need anything. I didn't need any viewers. Yeah, if you want to do what I do and you want to earn a little bit of money on the side, then go ahead, download Anchor and start podcasting. Hello and welcome to the Across the Pond podcast. Today we have a very special guest on, but before I get into that, just want to let you know you can follow me on Instagram at @across_the_pond. If you go follow me on there, you can keep updated on every single upload, every single podcast, and all NFL news. So if you go over there, follow me, it will really help me out, and it will really help the podcast out too. Hello, and welcome to the Across the Pond podcast. Today, I'm joined with Shaq Evans. Shaq, you play in the CFL, you've been all around the NFL. Let me just start off by telling people who you are, where you've been. So you're currently playing with the Roughriders. You started off your career with, in the NCAA with the UCLA. You played in UCLA. You got drafted by the Jets. You went to Jacksonville, New England, and then you went to Dallas as well. And now you're with the Roughriders in the CFL. You know, you've been everywhere, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, how did your journey start in football?
I've been playing football since I was about 5 years old. You know, my mom made me play flag football is where I started. And pretty much from day one, it was just like natural for me. And I was always the best player, like from 5 all the way until, through college. So the thing is, I didn't really start even thinking about scholarships for football until like my junior year. Because up until that point, it was like all about basketball. Like basketball, was like my first love. But I just stopped growing, so I was like, well, maybe I should focus more on football. So then after that, I went to a couple camps and got my name out there, and then I just balled out my last 2 years, and was fortunate enough to receive about 30, 40 scholarships, and I chose Notre Dame, which is in Indiana. But I was there for a year, but this wasn't working out, so I ended up transferring to UCLA and ended up having a pretty good career there and was able to get drafted, fortunately, because, the odds of getting drafted into the NFL are basically slim to none. So it was definitely a great feeling to accomplish something, I set out to do my whole life.
Yeah, no, like you said, you went to UCLA, obviously you started at Notre Dame. Did you go to UCLA just for the fact it was your home in California? Was it more convenient for you as well, being in California?
Yeah, I just wanted to be back home. It was definitely tough being 18, years old when I first went to Notre Dame and moving away from home and being on my own. And it was with things not working out, it was just too much, for a kid to handle. So I just I just wanted to be back, be somewhere where I was comfortable. I felt like at that point in my life, I needed to still be a little comfortable so I could be successful and save the uncomfort for when I was more of an adult.
Yeah, 18 years old to be living by yourself. I mean, it's a lot for any 18-year-old. But then you've also got to perform to the standards of the school as well.
Exactly.
How did you find? How long was you at Notre Dame? How did you find it while you was there?
I got there, I'd say June 2009, and I was there until August of 2010. I love being at the school. I love the friends I made. There's still guys that I talk to even from that class, like, that I became good friends with just in that year. So I love being there. It was just it just wasn't working out in terms of the coaches and me playing, and I know what aspirations I had, and I was to get to the NFL, and I felt like in order to do that, I need to go somewhere else where I would get more playing time and just be with coaches that believed in me. So it was definitely a tough decision to make, at 19 years old, but to walk into a grown man's office and tell him you want to transfer. But
Definitely.
I did, but I did what I had to do, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, even though it was a tough one.
Yeah, no, it's that.
a huge decision to make, and you went to UCLA. And let's be honest, you balled out at UCLA. So obviously eyes were on you. You went to the combine as well, right?
Yeah, I went to the combine.
Went to the combine as well. So you had a big year. You also was on the watch list for the Fred Blinkensoff. I believe that's the right pronunciation of it.
Yeah, Biletnikov. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is a tough one. Yeah. So I mean, you had great seasons at UCLA. Obviously, I guess you've still got friends there. It's your hometown. Have you still got love for UCLA then?
Oh yeah, for sure. I loved UCLA before I even went there, so it was definitely cool to go somewhere. Growing up cheering for them because where I grew up, the big schools are UCLA and USC. So, but especially where I'm from, USC is like the big school. So I never really liked USC. So it was always my rival, even before I got to college. So, yeah, definitely loved being at UCLA and being able to play at a school that I grew up watching.
Yeah, no, 100%. So you're now with the Riders. You've just signed your new contract with them as well. You're going to be back there for another year. If the whole season's okay, you're going to be back there for another year. Last season, you had 72 catches, 1,334 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and you appeared in all 18 games. Were huge stats. You've got to explain this to me, right? I'm a huge NFL fan, right? And I watch the CFL on the side. Many people don't know the size of the field is different. It's wider, I think it is. It's longer as well.
It's wider and longer, yep.
So as a wide receiver going from the field you play on in the US, the NFL, college, to go into this much larger field, does it impact your game? Do you find it easier to be on the bigger field or harder? How does it impact you?
It goes both ways. I mean, in terms of both sides of the spectrum, it's easier and it's harder in different ways. Like it's easier because you have more room. You have more room to work. You have more field to, make moves and things like that. So it's a little easier for you maybe to get open. It's harder in the sense and in terms of you got to be in a little better shape because you are running further. You are running more because also you have the waggle where you run before, you run and time the snap up before you even run your route. So you already ran 10 yards before you even started running your 15-yard route. So you're really running 25 yards. And, in the NFL, you're always stationary. So if it's 10 yards, it's 10 yards. But in the CFL, if it's 10 yards, you got to run 20 yards because you got to run 10 yards before you get to the line of scrimmage. So
does that gas you up?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So you definitely got to be you have to be in great shape to play receiver in the CFL because you're running constantly. And you usually never come out the game. Like I never come out the game. Like I play every single snap, every single game.
So it's a lot harder than being on and off. And obviously, like you said, that 10-yard run up. I mean, 10-yard sprint into it, and then you still got to give yours for another 20 yards anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So
it must catch you out every time.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Playing a lot, obviously, the field's a lot bigger. Like you said, it's going to make for a different brand of football. And also the downs are different as well, right? It's
it's only 3 downs. Yeah, it's only 3 downs. So if you don't get the first down in the first two plays, then usually you got to punt on 3rd down, unless it's 3rd and 1, because usually if as long as you get to 3rd and 1, 90% of the time you're going to go for it because because in the CFL the D linemen have to line up a yard off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So if you only need 1 yard and you do a QB sneak, then you're guaranteed to get at least a yard. So
what you're saying is Tom Brady would have loved that league, right?
QB sneak all the time. QB sneak, yeah, exactly.
So Evans, man, you've been with the Roughriders. You earned your position as an all-star in the CFL. So we'll get into more of those questions. But before we get into some of the meatier questions, I'm from the UK, so I'm surrounded by soccer. You said you're a fan of Manchester United. Why Manchester United? What got you into soccer, and why did you choose Manchester United?
What got me into soccer was actually college. In college, all you do is hang out with your friends, you play video games and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to always play NBA 2K. But then one day, somebody said, "Let's play FIFA," and I'm just like no, like I don't want to play soccer. Like I play 2K and Madden. Like I don't want to play FIFA. But majority rules, everybody wanted to play, so I ended up playing. And I got addicted to it like immediately. Like I'm like, oh, this game is like super cool. And then for some reason, like the first team I ever picked was Manchester United. So I'm like, well, this is my team now. Like, this is who I'm going to cheer for. Since I'm playing the game now, I might as well start watching it. So pretty much ever since, what was that, like 2012? Yeah, since 2012, that's been my team. So actually, the first year I started liking them is the last year they won the Premier League. So they haven't
Yes,
won it since
it's
then.
been a
So
slow
yeah,
decline now. It's been a
it's been
real
a
slow
slow
decline.
decline. Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson, since he's gone, it's been a uphill. I think we're back on the right track though. Still need a couple summer transfers. Our center backs are a little shaky, but we definitely got the upward trajectory.
The Premier League is a little bit of their mind. To be fair, so I live here and I know barely anything anymore. I've took my nose out of the Premier League. I've gone to the NFL. I like the NFL, the NBA. So you've went into UK sports. I've went out of them a little bit. Actually, I do follow a team. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest. Yeah, they're in
Yes.
the lower division. They're
Yeah,
not in
the
the Premier League,
Championship.
but yeah,
Yeah,
championship.
I
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
I work there. I mean, quality of football is awful, but the atmosphere is amazing. I'll give it that. So
Yeah, I've been
sorry.
to Fulham. I went to see Fulham play before. Um, when
Oh,
we went
okay.
to London when I was on Jacksonville. Yeah, because our team owner in Jacksonville
Is
actually
Fulham owner
owned
as well.
is Fulham owner as
Yeah.
well. So we got free tickets to. They weren't in
Was
the Premier League,
they
but
were?
they were in the Championship. They're in the
Oh, they were
Premier League
back in.
now.
Yeah, they just
They
got
just got
back in.
promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just got promoted. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did well. They did well. To be fair, they needed to get back in there. So the owner was probably
Yeah.
begging for them to get back in. Some money in the Premier
Yeah.
League
Yeah.
is on a
Exactly.
whole
More
different
money.
level.
Yeah.
Huge
Exactly.
money. It's like 150 million if they win. I believe it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's a big deal.
Definitely, brother. So we're getting some questions, okay? Some meteor questions now. And I want to get straight into about your time at the Roughriders, okay? So you just signed your
Yeah.
second contract for the Roughriders. And
Yeah.
you said on your Instagram, you said, to think a couple of years ago, I was on the verge of giving up this football stuff, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little
Hmm.
bit what happened during that, in them 2 years ago when you sort of feeling like you might give it up. What happened during that time and what changed? What got you to the position where you are now? Because you now are a CFL All-Star wide receiver. What got you
Yeah.
from being at the verge of leaving to up there?
Man, just just those first, three years as a professional just weren't, going right. Like my rookie year, I got hurt. Then my second year, I ended up getting cut, but ended up, doing well enough to stay on the Jacksonville Jaguars for the entire season. But then the following year, I make the team through training camp. And then the first day of practice, I strained my calf, which was like a 4 to 6 week injury. And they ended up giving me an injury settlement, but, letting me go, end up letting me go. And then, I was at home for a few months. Then New England signed me, but they only kept me for a week. Then I got cut again. And then I went to Dallas, towards the end of the 2016, 2017 season and got signed to the practice squad. And then I ended up staying on the team until the next off season. But after like a month with them they let me go. So it was just, just feeling discouraged, like maybe I'm not good enough or something like that. So I told myself, like, I'm gonna give the CFL thing a shot. And if I don't make it up there, then it's time to, move on to something else because it's just not working. So, but that helped me. But also my failures, helped me understand what I need to do differently, maybe change some things within myself and just approach the game a little differently and a little more serious and just work a little more harder. And that's what I did. That's the focus I went into that 2018 training camp with. I knew it was a long shot we were going to make the team because they had just had 3 1,000-yard receivers the year before. So it was like, it's going to be pretty tough to crack this roster. We really have to, show what we can do. And that's what I did. Like, I just went there with extreme focus and just not really worried about anything but myself, like, and not getting down on myself for little misplays here and there, just always focusing on the next play. And then I end up having a great training camp and I end up making a team without even have to play both preseason games. I only had to play one. They sat me out the second one because they said I was pretty much good. I made the team. So.
We all know that the NFL is a big cutthroat business. It's
Yeah.
always like from your story as well, you can tell if a team doesn't want you, they're not afraid to get rid of you.
No,
And
not at
especially
all.
when it comes down to injuries as well. Like,
Oh yeah,
tell me how
injuries.
hard
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, tell me how hard it was for you to. I mean, to get another injury when you play for the Jaguars, it just seems like really, really unlucky. How is it?
Yeah.
How is it getting these injuries? How do you feel?
Yeah, you just feel like it just makes you. Sometimes it just makes you play differently because it's like I don't want to get hurt. Like I'm trying to be like a little more cautious and things like that because like injuries that never happened before. Like my first year, I had shoulder surgery before in college, so it wasn't that much of a surprise, and I knew I would bounce back. But it was just like when I had the calf injury, like I had never hurt my calf before. Like I never strained my calf, never had any problems with my calf, and then for some reason that year, I had strained my like soleus muscle, like it's like the front of your like tibula, like the muscle on the side of your leg. And then I ended up straining my calf. It was like two injuries I never had before. So it just makes you think like, is this really for me? Can my body hold up? Like, is there something I'm doing wrong? So that's what made me look into within myself. Like maybe I should eat differently. Maybe I should start cooking more. Maybe I should do more stretching. Do all the little things to prevent those injuries. And I think that's the lessons I learned from having those injuries was just to focus on the little things like stretching and warming up correctly and doing mobilization with the body before you get started. Just making sure doing everything I can to help prevent those injuries. So honestly, those injuries have helped me to where I've been able to play the last 2 years pretty much, injury free.
Well, you played the last 2 years amazing. You've been an all-star, racking
Yeah.
up huge numbers as well.
Yeah.
Last year, you were ranked fourth in out of all the wide receivers in the CFL in yardage.
Yeah.
How does it feel now to be a CFL all-star? How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great, yeah, because that's what I set. I set those goals, before the season, to be an all-star and to be recognized as, one of the top, not just receivers but players in the game, period. So it felt amazing to get recognized by your peers because that's who votes for you. Most of the votes are from the peers and things like that. So when you're respected by the people you work with, then it just uplifts you in a way that that you've never felt before because I've never been in a all-star or anything at the professional level for me to be able to accomplish that after everything I had been through was a great feeling because I had been through a lot and to be able to get that kind of recognition, it was a awesome feeling.
100%, man. Let me get off by this, right? You're from California. You're a Cali boy through and through.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
played for UCLA for the majority of your NCAA career. So you've been down in California
Yeah.
pretty much all of your life. You're down there now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Down there now. And now all of a sudden, you've got on a plane and you went to Regina in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
How has the weather and the change of environment affected you? Do you feel like you've sort of embraced it? Do you enjoy the new lifestyle or do you still struggle with, I believe they speak French in Canada as well. Do you struggle with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
language, the weather? How is it down?
No, I've embraced it for sure. Like being and I learned that quickly too that it's not pronounced Regina.
Okay.
It's pronounced Regina. Like yeah, they corrected
Regina.
me. Yeah, they corrected me so fast because I said Regina too. Like, cause you think it's spelled just like it, so you would think it's pronounced like it, but nah. But anyway, yeah, I've embraced it. The weather is definitely crazy. Like especially in Saskatchewan, like that's like the middle of the place, and it's like there's no mountains, there's nothing. It's just flat land, farmland. So the winds are crazy. It gets super cold. Like they speak French in some places, yeah, but the place that speaks French the most is Quebec. Like Quebec, like that's like if you go to
Okay.
Quebec, like Montreal, like if you go to Montreal, like everything's in French. Like nothing's in English. Everybody speaks French first. Like so that was definitely interesting. But Canada as a whole is just a beautiful country. Just a beautiful scenery. I was hoping to go to Nova Scotia this year, but our season got delayed, so that game got canceled. But I've been everywhere else though, and it's I've definitely embraced it. The people are great. The country's great. Like I said, only thing I don't like is the weather. Like it's once it gets to like November, December, it's like death.
Suicide.
Like negative 40. Like I'm like, dude, I don't know how y'all do this every year for months. Like for months, like months.
I know when the ball hits your hands, that's gotta hurt, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
See, I didn't even want to pronounce the state name. You said it, but is it Saskatchewan?
Yes, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Saskatchewan. Yeah, it was suicide from the get go. I avoided saying that. Okay, and it seems like the only name that I thought I would have got right, I got wrong anyway. So yeah, it's crazy. The weather's. I mean, the weather over here is always up and down, but Canada's a cold environment as well. Throughout the year,
super cold. Yeah, super cold.
So you're enjoying it back down in California now, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now in Canada, it's pretty hot. Like it's pretty hot in Saskatchewan right now. So, but once it hits like October, from October till like April, May, it's cold. Like it's cold. It's cold. Like all the way till May, it's crazy.
As well. Times you're there.
Yeah, like once we hit like I said, once we hit like October, it starts getting cold. Practices is cold. You just start wearing sweaters and sweats and thermals, everything. You wear everything you can possibly at practice because you're just trying to be comfortable because it'd be so cold. Because on game day, you could get through it because you got the adrenaline going, energy from the crowd. So it's easier to get through it on game day. But practice is a little tougher, so you need them extra layers.
Well, many people actually look down on the CFL. You get many NFL fans who look down on the players, the organization as a whole. I seen your tweet, and you just tell people get it twisted, right? I've watched the CFL maybe a couple of times. Obviously, it's way different to the NFL. Even if you think it's the same thing, it's not. Right? It's completely different.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how tough the CFL can actually be and why people shouldn't look down on the players, the coaches, and the organizations. What does the CFL bring to the table?
The CFL brings, we have like great players up there. Like there's players that's been in the NFL that were playing at a high level that, it's cutthroat. Like sometimes you just get in a bad position, they draft a guy at your position or get a younger guy or something. It's so many different factors that could get you out the NFL, not just you're not good enough. Like I feel like I'm definitely good enough to be in the NFL, but there's only so many spots, and some people are just unfortunate that aren't able to make it in there. But there's guys that have been in the CFL that have been NFL, great players. Cameron Wake from the Dolphins, was a great sack man for years, but he started his career up here playing for the in Canada for the BC Lions. Delvin Breaux, he's a corner for Hamilton right now. He played at a Pro Bowl level with the Saints for a few years back for the Saints. So there's definitely guys that had a Warren Moon, like he's an older player, but Warren Moon, like a great NFL quarterback for the Oilers he started his career with the Edmonton Eskimos, like Doug Flutie, that another NFL quarterback. He started his career with the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL. So it's like people just like always, some people just ignorant, it's not their fault. They just don't know any information. They just look at the CFL and just like, oh, they must be trash if they're not in the NFL. Like, no, that's definitely not the case. There's definitely ballers up there, and it's just everybody just wants to get their chance. Like some people don't get their chance, but if you love football, the pay isn't horrible. It's not as good as the NFL, but it's good enough to where if you love the game, it's definitely worth it. And obviously, you can use the CFL to propel you back to the NFL. Like if you play well up there, then coaches see your film, and they bring you in for workouts, and then you do well, you get signed to the NFL team. There was a few DBs I played against this year that I did pretty well against that got signed by NFL teams. So, so it's not like people are just not good. Like people are pretty good up there.
It's like a fighting league, really, then, isn't it? Everyone's out there fighting for their opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the difference too, because it's a little grittier because nobody it's not like obviously if you can make a career in the CFL, you will make a career in the CFL. But obviously, most people's initial goals, especially when you're American, is to ball out up there so you can get back to the States. And so you're out there grinding, you're out there even going even harder because you really want to make it back to down south.
So this is a good lead on to one of my questions I had for you later on. But if you had the opportunity to go back to the NFL and right now, would you do it, or do you feel like you sort of belong to the CFL, or would you take your opportunity to go back to the NFL?
No, I would definitely take my opportunity back in the NFL if it's the right situation. Like I want to make sure I get some money up front. I don't want to waste my time and just go through a training camp and only make a couple $1,000s and end up getting cut and then losing my spot, on my Canadian team, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be the right situation, has to be money up front, and it has to be a situation to where I feel like I have a chance to actually make the team and play. Because I'm not at this point in my career, I'm not really trying to sit on the bench, or be like a backup player. So,
you want to
but
make your
definitely
mark in the league.
yeah. So like but if it's the right situation, I get a chance, I definitely will um, give it a shot, because that is what I ultimately wanted to do with my career. And to even if it's only for 2 years, that's money I can make, and invest and put away and save. So there's definitely an opportunity I would take.
So before you entered the CFL anyway, we discussed you played for 4 different teams: Jets, Jags, Patriots, and Dallas.
Yeah.
Like you said, you did get drafted in the 4th round by the Jets. Tell me a little bit about the draft day experience. What it entailed for you. How did it feel getting that phone call? How did it feel? You didn't get drafted in the 1st round, so obviously you had to wait. How did it all feel? How did it all go for you?
It went pretty well for me. Like, I knew I didn't really worry about the 1st round. I knew I wasn't going to go in the 1st round. But just knowing that you're going to get called is just still a great feeling. So, the actual day of the rounds 4 through 7 was, I think that was a Saturday. I was actually at the barbershop and getting a haircut, just, getting ready to go back home and, wait for my name to be called. And it was crazy because as soon as I got out the chair, like after my haircut was done, like my coach from college called me and told me he felt like the Chiefs were getting ready to take me pretty soon. So I got in my car and like was zooming back home, like, trying to get back home. And like as soon as I parked, like started parking my car, my phone started ringing, and it was I forget, I think it was Rex Ryan from the Jets. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was gonna be the Chiefs, but whatever. Like I don't care who it is. Like, and he was like, all right, he's basically, they ask you like, are you ready to be a Jet? And I'm just like, yeah, hell yeah, like I'm ready. Like, so once I got that, it was just like, wow, this is really coming true. Like something that you've been, trying to accomplish for so long, and it's actually coming true. Like my mom started crying and everything. So it was definitely a good moment for me and, my family as well. So it was definitely something cool that I'll never forget.
Yeah, no, I always this year everyone was getting the calls through, and you was getting to hear the calls as well, a lot more than you usually would. And I remember, same as like you said, they always say, "Are you ready to play? Are you excited to play?" And there's even two athletes: the excited athlete, the one who's yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, or the emotional athlete. Which one were you?
I was just the direct, just straight. Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready. Like I'm ready. Like just excited just to get it started. Just to experience something new, because like I was just in college, so now I just can't wait to see what's the speed like, and what's the talent level like what I got to do to make it in this business. So it was definitely an exciting time for a young kid like that.
Did you definitely feel that when you was in the league? Did you feel like how much different the talent was, the speed was? Like, what is the level from college to the NFL? How much of a gap is it that people might not see?
It's just the biggest thing is people are just super technically sound. Like that, it's not even really the speed. I don't feel like speed was a factor or anything. I just felt like it's just those little intricate things that you just don't understand when you haven't been a professional yet. Like and just like this little, it's like certain things that you just wouldn't understand unless you are out there. But it's like little subtle things. Like that's what you learn. It's the little things as a professional that separates you from the rest of the pack. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing that I think is the difference from college to pro. Like, because in college you could just pretty much go off, I'm just better than you. Like I'm just better than you, and that's it. But in the NFL or CFL or professional league, like everybody's pretty much almost the same. Obviously, there's some people that are just different, like Julio Jones and
yeah,
Saquon Barkley and people like that are just differently blessed with different type of talent. But what separates like everybody else is just, are you willing to do the little things, the little technical things that separate you from the rest of the
Am I
crowd.
right saying the playbook was a lot harder, or was that similar to college level as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
That
Like
seems
that's
like
not
you
even, it's not even
100% sure with
close.
that
Like,
one.
yeah, 100%. Like the verbiage, the how many plays there are, the adjustments on each play, the if the linebacker does this, then you got to change your route to this. Like it's so much stuff. Like in college, it's just like, oh, boom, boom, whatever it is, and you do it. But in the NFL, it's so many adjustments. Like on this play, if they do this blitz, then you got to change your route to this and stuff like that. And then the plays be long and the verbiage is crazy. So that was definitely another adjustment too.
Well,
That playbook was definitely tough.
yeah, so I'm talking about tough playbooks and an environment where everything's got to be right. You spent time in New England and notorious to the playbooks, Bill Belichick. What was that? I'm going to ask you though, have you got any good Bill Belichick stories?
Actually, yeah, this is crazy because I'll tell you this because I was only there for a week, so I didn't get too many experiences. But this is the one thing he did. I got there and it was the week they were playing the Bengals. This is 2016, yeah, 2016. They're going to play the Bengals, and so it's the beginning of the week, so it's the first meeting of the week. Introducing us to the team. Like I'm thinking he starts giving us like a history lesson, like about the Bengals franchise and things like that. So I'm like, it's gonna be like 2 minutes, like just a quick little history lesson, about the team. No, this dude went on for like 45 minutes to like an hour, like explaining the lineage of the family, the lineage of the trainers, like in their family, like the whole spill on the whole organization, like not just the football team, not just the football players, like the owner, the trainers, the past coaches, the history of the team, what they did in 1984 that's still instilled in their program now in 2016. Like it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like I've never seen it, and I still haven't seen it to this day. Like that's the only time I ever seen a coach give a history lesson on an entire team, like through and through. Like I was like, wow, this dude knows everything about the Bengals. Like,
He's one
and it's like,
crazy
but that
guy.
just shows you but he's just one crazy guy. Like that's why he wins, because he's willing to do, like I said, the little things that most coaches are not even thinking of doing. Like no coach is just thinking of going and looking up the history of an entire franchise. All they worried about is the players that's playing on Sunday and what do we have to do to beat them, not the owner. And when he bought the team, like why he bought the team, like stuff like that. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. Like this is why this guy wins all the time.
Well, saying that, you were at that game. Now, there's one thing about that game that stands out to me, and it was the notorious homecoming of Brady when he got his suspension. He'd just come off his suspension. If I'm right, it's the right game here. Week 4,
was that the
Bengals,
year he had to miss?
2016.
Yeah.
It would, if I'm right, it would have been
Yep.
Brady's comeback when he come off it.
That was his comeback.
Did you feel anything in the locker room, a bit of like from the Patriots organization sense of a comeback? Let's go out there and sort of give everyone what they deserve, or was it just the same business as usual, as people say?
No, I just felt like it was just business as usual. But like I said, I was only there for a week, so I never really got to get too involved with the team. So I couldn't really get that only week I was there. I was just trying to just get my head around the playbook. Like I wasn't worried about the vibe in the locker room. I was just trying to get the play. So, but yeah, they definitely always business as usual. You could just tell, like from that week I was there. Like it's just usually once the game's over, it's on to the next one. There's no
living in the past, really, isn't it?
Drawback on living in the past, and he'll yell at anybody. Like he'll point out, like he'll have a whole period of just bad plays from the previous game. Like even if it's Tom Brady, like he'll rip him up. Like so you never feel like it can't happen to you, because like if he does it to Brady, then everybody got to hold themselves accountable. So
well, you was only on the practice squad at New England. Did you ever get to catch a pass from Tom Brady? Did you? get to work with him at all, or was it two different sides of it?
I was with Garoppolo.
Okay, so you still got to play with a quarterback who's just been to the Super Bowl. Did you see potential in?
Yeah,
did you see potential in him? What did you see from him?
Yeah, definitely. I just tell by the way he approached practice and approached the game, and just like even though he wasn't starting at that point, because Brady was back, and he was still, you could still tell he was just ready to go, and just no matter what happened, like you could just tell by the way a quarterback approaches the game if he's serious or not, and I could tell like you would if you didn't know any better, you would think that he was the starting quarterback. So that's what definitely stood out to me.
And Jimmy Bissett was he still on the team then?
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett was still there. Yeah.
And did he have the same sort of attitude as well? Because both of them are potential starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, they definitely have the same attitude. Because like you said, they've both gone on to become starters now. So that's just how the culture is in New England. Like if you're there, you're just gonna learn how to work, and you're gonna learn how to be a winner. It's not always gonna be, to your liking, because Bill Belichick is that kind of guy to where he just doesn't care. He's gonna say what he feels, and he's gonna let you know. But you also know you're gonna be competing for a Super Bowl most likely.
100%. Well, we'll move off from the NFL and we'll go back to the CFL quickly. You said that you wanted to validate yourself and prove that you are the best in the league and not just a one year wonder. After watching your highlights, I mean, let's be honest, I don't see how anyone can say you're one year wonder because like highlights are on top, mate. And I do like the chain, the Roughriders chain as well. And do you feel like you have a chip on your shoulder and that you need to prove it to the world, or do you feel like you need to prove something to yourself? Which is it that you want to go into next season? Is it to everyone, or is it one of those personal things?
No, it's just it's one of those personal things. It's always a battle within myself. That's how I keep myself motivated. I always just try to set different goals. Like I said, like last year was about just becoming that guy and just showing people that I can be an all-star and things like that. And then this year, my whole mantra was just being like I said, validation. Basically, just one word, just validation. I just want people to understand, and I want to prove to myself that I can do it again. Like, and that's what pushed me to work so hard this off season, because I knew like if you want to do what you've never done, then you have to do things in training that you've never done. You have to work a little harder, because this is how it works. Like I don't want it to be the same as last year. I want it to be better than last year, because my second year was better than my first, because I worked even harder going into my second year so I could have the season I had. Now I have to work even harder to validate the season I had, and just to help people understand and to prove to myself that that I can be a consistent all-star at the professional level.
I've seen your workout videos on Instagram, and to be fair, like I couldn't do any of those things you were doing. You really put in the work. Last season, like you said, you were one of the best out there, and you're going to go prove yourself this season as well. Have you got any predictions for how well you're going to do? You got any stats you're looking up to? Maybe you want to surpass a certain yardage, a certain amount of touchdowns, or is it just all business?
Yeah, I mean, I would, if the season wasn't, on the verge of being lost, then I would definitely have those goals. But now, even if we have a season, it's only going to be probably 6 games, 6 or 8 games. So I can't really set any goals because I don't know how many games there's going to be. So, but if it was a normal 18-game season, I had goals. But though the 18-game season that's not happening. So yeah, it's definitely tough.
What about the Riders? Do you think you've got a good chance of winning it all this season, being an 8-game?
Oh yeah, definitely. I felt that before if we had an 18-game season, I felt like we were the best team, and we should, finish first in the West again like we did last year with an even better record. I feel like we should win 14. If we would have had an 18-game season, I feel like we should have won 14, no less than 14. And yeah, because we were so close last year. I feel like, we blew it last year, and now it's funny you bring that up, because when the team that did win in Winnipeg, our freaking biggest rival, just got their rings yesterday. So I had to see that. I had to see that on freaking Instagram and see people put on those rings, and it just made me sick because I'm like, they beat us to get there, and on our home field, so it was definitely tough seeing that. But I felt like if we had it, like we had a whole, like our team was on a mission this year because we felt like we blew it last year. So I feel like we would have came in with a certain, with a certain focus, and we would have been one of the top teams in the league this year.
Well, given the fact that the season does go ahead, everything you've been through, you play this season, you go to the Grey Cup, and you win. How amazing would it feel to hold that cup above your head? How great! What the emotions would be in your head after everything you've been through to be able to be on top?
Yeah, it'll be super emotional. It'll probably bring tears to the eyes because it's something you worked your whole life for to win a championship. Like, because it's hard to win a championship at any level. I don't care what level it is, Pop Warner, high school, college. Like it's hard because I know because I've never won one, so I know it's hard. I didn't win any championships in college. Like we got to the Pac-12 championship, against Stanford and almost won that, but we lost that. And then my senior year, we got beat on senior night, so we couldn't even play in the Pac-12 championship. And then my first year in the CFL, we lost in the playoffs to Winnipeg. And then my second year in the CFL, we lose again to Winnipeg. So it's just, and then even when I was in the NFL, even the teams I was on, like for the whole season, like we never made the playoffs. So it'll be like a sigh of relief. Like finally, like I won something,
That was definitely something you should start craving for, that finally to hold that in your hand as well.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're coming towards the end of the interview, but I've got a few more questions for you. If you're ready for these questions, they are quick fire questions, no hesitation. You've just got to answer and give your favorite one. Okay? Sound good?
Yes.
All right. So number 1, Madden or 2K?
2K.
California or Regina?
California.
McDonald's or KFC?
Actually, Regina. I'll take Regina.
You say Regina now? Okay.
Yeah.
McDonald's or KFC?
McDonald's.
Workout or watch a movie?
Workout.
Chicken or steak?
Steak.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
And finally, which is a better franchise, Manchester United or Manchester City?
Go Big Red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hate Man City, dude.
We're gonna ignore all the championships.
They're so good, though.
Yeah,
They're
ridiculous. A huge backing as well.
Yeah.
Huge backing as well. Think about their Champions League stint where they came with like all their lawyers backed up.
Yeah, they're getting ready to play in like 10 minutes. About to play Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's who's got the advantage, do you know?
I think Man City's
2-1. I remember, see, Man City, Real Madrid aren't the powerhouse they used to be. That's
Nah.
Not what they used to be. Everyone used to play with them on FIFA. I don't think I played anyone this year.
Yeah, I hated that. I used to hate that. Where Ronaldo just sprinting past everybody. Yeah, hated.
Still does it now. He still does it now. He is one of the kind.
He's ridiculous.
Well, Shaq, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and the answers you've been able to provide me with were amazing. I love your story. But before we go, have you got any words of motivation or wisdom that you might have learned from, coaches, players, anyone that you've met, like while you've been playing? Have you got any words of wisdom to give to the people?
My main thing is just stay focused on what you want to do. Like if you really love what you do, then never give up. Like basically, never give up. There's gonna be like the people that succeed are the people that fail the most. And that's what I learned, in my journey. Like I failed so many times, and that's what has propelled me to the success I have now. So that's how I look at it. Like just what led up to what I've, where I'm at now. And there was a lot of failures in between that, because most people just see the success. They don't know what the hurt and things I've been through to get to where I am. So that's my advice. Just no matter what, if you love it, keep going.
Perfect, man. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you on Instagram, Twitter? What are your handles?
Yeah, my IG is Shaq, underscore Evans. Twitter Shaq underscore Evans one. And so yeah, those are the two things
Two
I
main
use.
ones. Well, like I said, thank you very much. If you
Hmm.
enjoyed this interview with Shaq, make sure you go follow him on Twitter and on Instagram as well. It is follow on Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much, right? Follow? Yeah, follow
Yeah.
us on Twitter. Yeah, so go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him
Hmm.
on Instagram. Shaq, like I said, thank you very much for coming on the show, and I really enjoyed your story.
All right, man. Thank you for having me,
Thank
man.
you, brother. See you soon.
All right.
Secondly, I just want to remind you that I do upload weekly. So if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you go tell a friend, get them to listen to it, and stay around because we do upload weekly, guaranteed 1 or 2 episodes a week. Stay around, stay for the fun. But yeah, let's get straight into the interview. We're joined with Shaq Evans, an all-star receiver in the CFL. He's been in the NCAA, the NFL, and now, like I said, he is in the CFL. He's had an amazing career. He's got some great stories, ups and downs. It's really worth a listen. I've really enjoyed recording it with him. So without further ado, let's get into the interview with Shaq Evans. Like I said, a huge thank you to Shaq for coming on the show, and it is the end of the episode. Just to let you know, like I said at the start, I do upload weekly, so if you want to stick around, please go follow my Instagram at @across_the_pond. I'll keep it updated whenever I upload, and if you click the link in my bio, you can also find my YouTube and places to find me, such as iTunes and Spotify. It was a great interview today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. Great stories. I really enjoy Shaq's stories about his career and also his Bill Belichick one. That's a personal favourite of mine for now. So yeah, I hope I see you in the next episode and hope you enjoy listening to this one. I'll see you soon.